Welcome to Awaken Health Pod. I'm Jen Grogan, Integrative Health Coach with Greenleaf Wellness, all the way here in Central Illinois. And I'm with Shanna, Integrative Health Coach with Inspire Wellness for You in Arizona. How are you going? How's it going, Shanna? How you doing?
Going pretty good. Seems like we both have a busy morning today, but the weather's beautiful and the kids got off to a pretty good start. So here we are. We're ready. 8:33 Arizona time. Today we're going to talk about a pretty common topic, I think, but Jen mentioned this one, and it really is kind of interesting. So I hope you guys stick through and listen to, our whole show. It'll be not too lengthy today, but is the scale good or bad for you? So I use this one. I don't know if you can see it. I just took a picture of it. Anyway, that's the scale I use, and it's called Renpho. I really like it because it's got an app connected to it. If I remember to put my phone on Bluetooth, then
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and the app is really cool. I mean, it'll show you your fat percentage and your age of the health with your muscle mass and fat mass. And I don't use it too often, but I do like it. It syncs really quickly. My husband has his own app for the same scale, and so I think it's pretty cool. But all scales are different, so that's something to be mindful of. Do you use a scale?
We have a digital one in our bathroom, and I only weigh myself maybe once a month. I don't let the numbers on the scale define my health or, my overall fitness. So I used to be the type where I would weigh myself and I'd get excited, or then I'd get really depressed. And, the reason why I wanted to talk about this topic today was because it seems like it's touchy subject for some, and some people rule everything based off the scale. And then they get discouraged when they don't like the numbers. And so it's like, you have to keep in mind and consider, the body in itself, that we're made a lot of water and that we are going to retain water. And, our weight will fluctuate between 24 to 48 hours of 5 to 6 pounds. Absolutely. So if you're not taking that in consideration and you keep going to the scale and you're like, oh man, I can't believe the numbers haven't changed, or I've been working my butt off in the gym and, I'm not seeing any improvement. And then you got the downfall too of, well, is it holding you prisoner? A lot of people are too consumed in weigh, and I can't eat that because the scale numbers will go up, or I can't eat that because of whatever, it's always tied to the scale. So it's not really a healthy relationship. And so a lot of it can stem from childhood, if you've had issues there, and, just different things play into it, psychological and stuff like that. But, if you're drinking a lot of water, and I have to remind myself this, that even in an 8-ounce glass of water, you're looking at half a pound of weight. So if you're doing nothing but chugging down the bottled water, you're going to retain more water. And so that's where I had the flu like 6 or 7 weeks ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, the scale number looks great. And then I got better and I was eating more and drinking more fluid. And then I'm like, how in the world did I gain 6 pounds? But then I was like, oh yeah, because I know I'm drinking the water and I'm feeling better and more movement. So just be really cautious that when you have like the high sodium foods, you're going to retain. And
especially if you're sodium sensitive. Some people are more sodium sensitive compared to others. And so then that really is a factor.
Yeah, because you could be working out and feeling really great. Your belly bloating's going down and you're having great detox. And you go and eat Chinese food or Mexican food that's going to sit in your gut for a while, and you're taking all this water and you're like, I feel like poo, partly because maybe you haven't detoxed properly now that you've eaten all that. So it takes a while to go through the system. And so
we mean eliminating your bowels when we say detox in this sense.
Yeah. So just be careful what you're eating. It's important. We want you to stay hydrated, but if you're going to get depressed or shocked when you get on that scale after eating this stuff, and drinking your fluids, it's okay. Give it a couple days and, it'll get back to normal, and don't beat yourself up. And I think that's the problem, is we get too caught up in having this certain number that we have in our head of thinking that, I got to be 125 because that's healthy. Your body may not be able to do that. So don't be defined by the number on a scale, because it's more to it than just weighing yourself.
Yeah, and that's why, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, that's why measuring too. A good friend of mine in Oregon, years ago, she's like, well, why don't you measure yourself? And I don't know, I didn't really make the time for that either, but now I know the importance, especially with dealing with inflammation in my own health journey. Oh my gosh, measuring is so much more important. I mean, I've had clients where the scale's not changing, but they'll measure themselves and there's inches down. And for myself, I knew. So the topic is the scale good or bad for you? And I love how Jen and I have different points of view on this. But for me specifically, it was really good because we all know our bodies better than anyone else. And for me, it was a really good indicator of chronic inflammation, sudden bloating that was hazardous and wreaking havoc on my body. What I would call you, I'd say the scale is going up and up and up, and I bloat after anything I eat, no matter what it is. I've dealt with this. It's horrible. And this is why I've said before, the discomfort of feeling full, that's how you know kind of the difference of bloating. It's one thing to be satisfied in the stomach after a meal that's properly portioned. It's a whole nother thing to feel like, when you go to a festival and there's it's like a pond of water with this big clear bubble and you go inside of it and it's like squishy. That's how I would feel when I would be really, really bloated. And I know that's not okay. That's my body alerting me of some type of unbalance in the gut. That's why I think the scale can be helpful with your health, indicating, if you know that you're trying to eat healthy and you're trying to exercise and there's still a major issue, that's when you want to seek help because there's something going on, and you're right. But yeah, inflammation and bloating, measuring helps because you can weigh more, but your measurements are going down. Fantastic. Keep up the good work. That's a good thing. But when, no matter what you're doing, there's that discomfort with bloating, a lot of people don't realize. So there's some evidence that the microbes in the gut are eating and growing and populating, and that's what's causing that bloating, which is increasing the scale. However, there's also some irritation on the nerves, and it's not necessarily just air that's being built up. The nerves get irritated and they'll shift the abdomen and the diaphragm and different areas, and that's where you feel so uncomfortable and full and bloated, and you can't hunch over. You're just stuffed, and it's a horrible feeling. I mean, once in a while on Thanksgiving, but not daily, not weekly. That's when you really want to look into what's going on with your digestive system.
Well, I'm not saying you can't weigh yourself. I think that's what you want to do. But I think if you're going to overconsume and thought process and let that bother you, then that's not healthy. I think for me, it's frustrating when I know what I weigh here at home, and you go to the doctor and you like, I just ate. I have clothes on. I had a huge bottle of water. That's not the right number. So now when I go in, the nurses are like, pick a number, because I'm like, that's wrong by 5 points. And they're like, what do you want to be? And so I'm like, okay. No, I mean, have a healthy relationship with it. I've met people that had to literally take the scale outside and get a hammer and just beat it up because they would just get so frustrated with it. Yeah. So, you might say, well, I work out all the time. Make sure you're staying hydrated. If you're not hydrated while you are working out and you're working out a lot, your body will gain weight because it has to do with the blood volume. So you want to make sure that as you're working out more and more and more, you're increasing that water so you can, get rid of everything that needs to go out, but it's also because your body needs it. You don't want to get dehydrated. So another thing to keep in mind for you ladies is the menstrual cycle. Absolutely. We're always going to put on more right before we have our period. So don't even think about weighing, 2 weeks around that time frame because you're just not going to like the scale numbers. But,
Typically,
that's
that's
another
around
thing to keep in
ovulation.
mind.
That's around ovulation as well. It's different. Some people are before their menstrual, on their menstrual. For me specifically, it's more around ovulation. But that's such an important factor, and I'm glad you brought that up. Know your body, know your cycle. That way, when you already know the scale's going to go up that week, there's no sense in fighting the world about it.
So, and you want to make sure that you're eating the fiber because you want proper detox, which is elimination, because you want to, if you can feed yourself the fiber, it's just going to help you cleanse everything and you're going to feel freer, smaller, and just lighter. So, that's another thing to consider too. Make sure you're eating the right food. So, just be very mindful, but don't get upset about the numbers. I have PCOS. And so, well, I say I have it. I was diagnosed with it and changed all my eating and I went low carb. Well, when you have PCOS, it's insulin resistant. So it's really important for the exercise to keep moving and get the weight off, right? But you want to be mindful too that the carbs, when you eliminate those, that's why keto is so popular, is because I lost weight really fast. Well, at the very beginning, you're losing all the water retention. So the carbs can turn into the higher insulin. That's why PCOS is recommending go low carb because we're already insulin, going up there for pre-diabetes and diabetes. So just maintain a healthy relationship with exercise and your food. And I feel great. I don't have any more symptoms, and it's just really important to know what you're eating. But a low carb diet does work. And so that's one of the areas where I work with my clients, well, how much carbs and sugar intake are you getting? Because that could be a lot of your problem, let's cut back on that. And they feel better. So.
Yeah, and I'm so happy for you that you overcame that and that you can share that with other people. It's so important. And the carbs, the refined carbs, sugars, really the Western diet really does cause the weight gain, the inflammation, and a battle with the scale. So it's important to know that and to, eat more of the nourishing foods, more fresh foods. Sometimes an overabundance of vegetables or prebiotics isn't the best, but we're all individual. And that's why if you're one that you're doing well and you're maintaining your weight and your lifestyle, fantastic. Either use the scale or don't, whatever works best for you. But if there's something going on, bloating, inflammation, weight gain, among other things, not having frequent bowels, then that's when maybe doing a stool analysis is really a good thing, because I had found out, at a point in time, I had pathogenic bacterias. They're gram-negative bacterias. They're not something that you want overpopulated in your gut. And so, again, that's where the scale for me was an indicator. For me, otherwise, the scale's a maintenance. We all have our top number, and if we get there, it's a real kick in the butt. But again, I think all scales are different. All devices that check your fat percentage are different. Measuring is helpful, but just if you're feeling well. So if you feel slim, and there's a difference, right? And feeling content and happy inside versus stuffed and bloated and all of that stuff we keep mentioning. So if you're feeling great, keep it up and then make your changes along the way. But if you're not feeling well, it's not necessarily one thing that you're doing or not exercising enough. It's something else is going on in the digestive system. I just can't emphasize that enough.
Yep, so important. So be mindful, be cautious, and just be more mindful of your relationship with the scale. Is it consuming too much of your time and worry and frustrations? Is it really worth all of that? Or do you want to have more freedom in muscle?
Yeah.
Muscle weighs more than a little loose on me, I'm like, great, scale numbers are going up, but my sizes are going down. So when you make that establish that concept, it's a lot more freeing. And so, yeah. But no, I think that's all I really wanted to say about the scale. Just be cautious and be healthy with it. Don't let it override you.
Yeah, and most of our topic was light and the fact of is it good or bad and some tips. But Jen, your heartstrings pulling really on the relationship, and that's really important. That's just a big deal, you know, if someone's that reliant on the scale, maybe just figure out a way to, you know, be a little bit more positive with yourself and try to get through that so it's not a barrier and it's not weighing on you when we're supposed to be weighing on it. As far as detoxing, there's cool little stool healthy checkers online. You can just see, you know, what your stool looks like. There's, I think, 5 different choices. And so how frequently you're going, because those are toxins that have been built up. Our body can't use all the nutrients. It turns into the waste and then it ferments there. And that will make us feel mentally not well. We won't feel our best if we haven't gone to the bathroom, and the scale will weigh more if we haven't gone to the bathroom. So, yeah, I've been doing a little bit of research on coffee enemas lately. Once I really figured out how that worked, I was like, maybe I won't be doing that, but wow. I think the last post I read was laying on their side on the bathtub floor, and I don't know, I might not quite do that. But medications that change the pH in your digestive system can cause that discomfort of the bloating as well, the weight gain, inflammation. And so knowing your food intolerances, knowing your food sensitivities, knowing if you've got an overpopulated amount of bacteria that's not working specifically in your favor as an individual, those are all good things to work on. So I think that's it. That's all we wanted to share. Just a fun, light, quick little podcast today. And Jen, I hope you have a great day.
You too.
I hope everybody has a great day. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.